Ukrainian counterintelligence officers destroy 3 Russian T-72s by attack drones. Military counterintelligence officers of the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, have destroyed 3 Russian T-72 tanks using attack drones. According to Ukrinform, the SBU's press service said this in a Telegram post. These days, 3 more T-72s became a target and were vividly destroyed by SBU officers, the report said. Earlier reports said that the total combat losses of the Russian invasion forces from February 24 to July 26 had already reached 39,870, including 170 in the past day alone. Also, the Ukrainian troops destroyed 1,737 main battle tanks, plus 7 over the past day, 3,959, plus 9, armored combat vehicles, 880, plus 4, artillery systems, 258, plus 1, multiple rocket launchers, 117, plus 1, air defense systems, 222 aircraft, 189, plus 1, helicopters, 722, plus 3, operational and tactical level EVs, 174 cruise missiles, 15 warships, cutters, 2,835, plus 3, trucks and tankers, and 75, plus 2, units of special equipment. Families of Russian occupiers who disappeared in Ukraine demand that Putin find their relatives, but not that he stop the war. More than 100 families of Russian soldiers who went missing during the war of aggression in Ukraine have appealed to Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation, to find their relatives, while at the same time they are not asking to stop the war. Source: Sever.Reali, North Realities, a Radio Liberty project, which has a copy of the Russians' letter. Quote from the letter: "We demand to find our loved ones, to include them in the lists of prisoners of war who have disappeared. Searches are not being conducted, and their status is still missing." The Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation has been blocking the change in the status of servicemen for more than 5 months, regardless of the constantly changing data. Relatives have to look for facts and prove that their son, husband is in captivity, or died. This is the case throughout the country. Details: according to relatives of the occupier's servicemen, the authorized bodies are not working well. There is no help coming from the commanders of the military units. It has been reported that parents and wives of Russian military personnel personally delivered the letter to the reception of Putin's offices on 26 July. 106 people signed the petition. They are asking Putin not only to find the occupiers who have disappeared in Ukraine, but also to create places throughout Russia where relatives of soldiers could receive help in finding their loved ones in Ukraine, whether they are alive or have been captured, injured or killed. In a comment to Ukrainska Pravda, the relatives of the missing occupiers continue to repeat the mantra that their children and husbands would never have gone voluntarily to participate in the special operation and that they were deceived by the military command when they were sent to Ukraine instead of to the promised training. At the same time, Anastasia Mitina, the mother of contract soldier Nikita Mitin, said that her son called her on 28 February and said that he was being sent on a mission, and she then asked if he was going to Ukraine. Later, the son confirmed that he was going to Ukraine and that he allegedly could not refuse, because he will face criminal charges, punishable by imprisonment for up to 20 years for refusing to take part in the war against Ukraine. According to the mother, her son fought in Kharkiv Oblast. Another woman said that her son got to Bucha, Kiev Oblast, on 27 February. At the same time, she said she has nothing against war and claimed that military actions in Ukraine were necessary to protect the Donbass side and protect Russian rights. The woman also added that she allegedly does not understand why it was necessary to attack Kiev and why hundreds of Russian servicemen died. The occupier's mother also believes that Putin didn't know anything about all this, because a lot goes past the president, and this whole operation was sold from the very beginning. One of the other women, Irina Chzyakova, has set up several chat groups with mothers of servicemen to help search for those who have been injured, killed or are still alive. It is reported that there are now about 25,000 relatives of Russian occupiers in these chats. According to Tsiakova, she was threatened by the Russian military for her activism. But she does not see any other way. She says that all parents of military personnel are faced with the indifference of the authorities, from the president to municipal bodies. Another mother, whose 20-year-old son allegedly went to study in Belarus, reported having received threats, this time from the FSB. Relatives of occupiers who disappeared in Ukraine are demanding that Putin find their children and husbands, return the prisoners, initiate DNA tests if there is information on where a fighter is buried, etc.